the history? Why would I go through the history of Frozen? Welcome to Epcot's World Showcase. So we didn't finish our history walk of the park. We only did Future World last time. It still took over 2 hours. So this time we're going to talk about World Showcase. I've trained you to smash the like button. Well, good, because we could really use it. So everybody else, please also hit the like button as you join. Oh, thank you, Stephen, for the super chat already. I thought have a great day. Thanks for doing these live streams. Well, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, they'll be Frozen. Yeah, sure. But there's lots of other history to talk about in the World Showcase right here at the American Adventure. American Adventure at one point was conceived as a ride by Mark Davis, kind of this weird, wacky idea with these oversized props. I think it was a boat ride, in fact. It didn't make it very far. It wasn't one of Mark's best ideas. And eventually they were working on this. It was going to be really just a film at first. There was a lot of film stuff in production for this park, and a lot of World Showcase attractions were films. And so they started with this idea. I think maybe even at that point there were only 3 animatronics. It was just going to be Benjamin Franklin, Mark Twain, and Will Rogers at that point. And then when they moved to this sweeping audio animatronic and film extravaganza, Will Rogers didn't make the cut as a host. He did make it into the show. But yeah, we ended up with what we actually got. I don't mean Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers owned a restaurant chain, a fast food restaurant chain, in fact. Thanks. Got it going. We should be back. Yeah, the American Adventure. Yeah, no, I didn't even try to use Wi-Fi. It's posed to you as if you're going to see sort of a Broadway show or a play. The American Adventure, hosted by Ben Franklin and Mark Twain, with these American legends: Susan B. Anthony, Alexander Graham Bell, Andrew Carnegie, Frederick Douglass, George Washington, Chief Joseph, Lady Liberty, John Muir, Thomas Jefferson, Franklin Roosevelt, Theodore Roosevelt, Will Rogers, and Rosie the Riveter, plus the Spirits of America, which are those statues on either side of the stage.
Thank you for visiting us today. Just a few reminders. Please wear a face covering at all times, except when actively eating or drinking while stationary. Clean your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
For those of you who are not aware of how the American Adventure works, those animatronic sets and scenes do not simply raise and lower. They actually are on a moving platform that goes under the entire theater and all the way out to the back. And as each scene progresses through the show, that scene will pop up, it'll play out, goes back down, and then the whole train with all the scenes and all the animatronics will start to slide under your seats, under the theater seats. And then the next scene will pop up, do its thing, go down, and the train moves forward again. It is one of the most amazing things they've ever done. It's one of those where most people don't even know what's happening, because you would probably think, oh, they're just raising and lowering. You know, they're not also on this big machine underneath us that is moving forward and backward. Yeah, when this park opened, they didn't spare much expense. Really big ideas done in really big ways. As they say in the Epcot experience, Epcot has always celebrated big ideas. Not so much anymore, but now Epcot's about screen-based projection roller coasters that spin. Someone mentioned corporations, so I'll mention this was originally sponsored by two corporations, American Express and Coca-Cola. That's why there is a lounge above that eventually became a Club 33 location. It was a corporate lounge for American Express. Of course, the Rotunda usually also home to the Voices of Liberty, the a cappella group that sings American tunes, past and present. Sadly, they are still not back with us, but an opening day act since October 1st of '82. Bye. Yeah, it was also the Chase Lounge during various festivals before it became Constellation Club, one of the Club 33 locations. That one is themed to Walt and Lillian's worldwide travels by boat. So the inside kind of looks like the inside of a cruise ship of the time, modeled after one of the cruise liners that they in fact traveled on, Walt and Lillian. This is the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. Craft Drafts and Barbecue just opened earlier this year in March. Formerly the Liberty Inn. Regal Eagle themed to a great, what is it, the Centennial, I forget what it is. There's some sort of barbecue competition that Sam Eagle is presiding over. And so if you look on one wall of the restaurant, there are various Muppets who might be associated with the 4 kinds of barbecue sauce that are served at the Regal Eagle, and telling you about all the awards their different barbecue sauces have won, and they're all here competing for you at the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. I think I missed the super chat. Dennis, thank you so much. Forget the name of the cook-off. It's something cook-off. I can't remember offhand. Liberty Inn had one of the finest counter service Cobb salads you'd ever find. Otherwise, the food was pretty junky, but people really liked it. There were 2 restaurants in this park that people really liked because people are afraid of culture and trying quote-unquote new things. So when we would post dining reviews from EPCOT, our 2 best performers, believe it or not, were Liberty Inn and the Electric Umbrella, both of which is served hamburgers, hot dogs, American fare of all kind through their existence. We're now in the Italy Pavilion looking towards Future World. A waiting room for streams. I don't know how we would do that. Yeah, I don't know why no one's getting notifications. It's pretty annoying. Not sure why no one's getting them anymore. I'll look at my settings, perhaps. I think someone changed some settings. Oh, we got this bird who has pooped all over these gondola seats. He particularly loves the perch of the gondola seat, because as you can see, He has pooped all over. He's pooped all over both of them. Sir, you are pooping on culture. How dare you? I think early on in development, they talked about a Venetian gondola ride for the Italy Pavilion. Never got an attraction. That's why there was just used to be a big stone wall towards the back of the pavilion. That was sort of expansion space meant for an attraction. That never happened. Eventually, when Via Napoli opened in 2010, it took most of that expansion space to bring on a second table service restaurant to the pavilion. We did eventually get a Venetian gondola ride at Tokyo Disney Sea, and it is absolutely magical. They take you through these canals that look right out of Venice. They look very authentic. And then they take you out into Mediterranean Harbor. We're out in this big body of water, and you get to look at Mount Prometheus. It's a really beautiful little ride. And the gondoliers sing to you, as would be expected of a gondolier in Italy. So yeah, the pavilion used to end right by the back of this building with the waterfall. And then again, 2010, Via Napoli got tacked on, using much of that expansion pad. And then, of course, one of the EPCOT losses I've always been the saddest about was the loss of Alfredo's. This restaurant used to be Alfredo's. They've since expanded. They added the wine cellar and stuff, but most of the interior is still fairly similar to how it was. Alfredo's was here from 1982 until 2007. Famous restaurant from Rome who takes credit for inventing fettuccine Alfredo. They do still have their Rome location. They do still have their New York location, which I think it's near Rockefeller Center. They got in a big fight with Disney over the dining plan. They didn't want to, I don't think they wanted to take the dining plan. And they got in a big fight, and then in 2007, Alfredo's closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
It was replaced with Tutto Italia. Both Tutto Italia and Via Napoli operated by Patina Restaurant Group, who already had a existing relationship with Disney, that they operated the Naples restaurant in downtown Disney in Anaheim. They would go on to operate many other Disney World restaurants, mostly at Disney Springs, Maria and Enzo's Hideaway, the Edison. All those are Patina, and the upcoming Space 220 going next door to Mission Space will be operated by Patina as well when that finally does open. Here we are in the Germany Train Village, which was added for a flower and garden festival and was so popular that they just kept it. What we're actually standing in is the front piece of a World Showcase expansion plot. So behind this, through the trees, this goes pretty far back, and it is another World Showcase country expansion pad. One of the few not used at this point. When Brazil was getting kicked around, this was the spot. But seemingly every time they're going to pull the trigger on that Brazil pavilion, the country itself has some sort of economic or political turmoil. The first time around when they got close, it was economic troubles. And the last time there was the political climate was not great. at that particular around that D23 Expo where they thought they would finally pull the trigger and announce it. So who knows if it'll ever happen, if they'll ever scrounge the money back up, if it'll come back to life. It was not planned to have an attraction, that Brazil Pavilion. Personally, what I would like to see, I would like for them just to expand the Germany Pavilion. I think Tangled would be a cool thing. I think a Tangled boat ride. Use that pad for the show building and stuff, right? You know, I don't mind characters in World Showcase. I mind them in Future World. But World Showcase, I think it makes sense. Yeah, so someone already said it. So this Germany was also intended to have a boat ride because everyone needed a boat ride. It was going to be called the Rhine River Cruise, and it would have boarded right here. So this would have been the load area right through this mural, and this would have been the entrance. And instead, you have the Summerfest food service window in the middle there, and then the entrance to the beer garden right on the other side. Not a whole lot of art is out there. I think there's like 2 or 3 big pieces of art that ever got put out for Rhine River Cruise. So I don't know how far along in development it ever actually got. But it definitely, they left the space for it as if they were going to come back to it for sure. So there was room back there for an attraction. Probably not something of the size they usually build stuff today. Oh, should we talk about Switzerland? What is the Switzerland plot? Was it also the Germany pad? I'm blanking on which one of the expansion pads it was. It was one of these two, right? Or was it this one? Is it the one we're stepping in now? It's the Brazil pad? Oh, we can talk about that for a minute. Go out to the water and talk about it. Yeah, I almost forgot. So another pavilion that was planned for that particular pad was Switzerland in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was going to include the Matterhorn bobsleds. A crazy version of that, including, everybody at home say it with me, those of you who know, a secret Swiss bobsled training facility. If that sounds crazy, it's because it is. So yeah, imagine there would have been a big Swiss mountain. A big Swiss mountain in the back there. But also a number of like Swiss shops. You would have had a clockmaker and a sit-down restaurant, all sorts of good stuff. Actually, if you search on our website, we have pictures of all those documents. Lots of concept art, lots of floor models, layouts, things like that. We also did a very fun video, Back to the Future, which is right here on YouTube that you can go watch, about the Matterhorn, including its history at Disneyland, but then what it would have been here at EPCOT. I think in the end, a lot of the shopping and dining seemed eerily similar to Germany. So with the exception of the attraction, it architecturally and in some other ways was a little too similar. I mean, you would have two pavilions with, you know, cuckoo clock shops next to each other. There's some crossover there, right? And I'm not saying Swiss and German are too similar, you know, cultures, because they're not completely, but there's some crossover for sure. course, we've talked about a bunch of rumored pavilions through the years, but there's certainly even been some announced that never happened. Those would be Spain, Israel, and what would have been right here, the Equatorial Africa, which would have had a big film show or stage show that would have had the influences of the director of Roots, or the writer and he directed the film, I think, also. It was made for TV, but also wrote the book, Alex Haley. Alex Haley was working with them at the time on developing a cultural show with stage performers and film elements as well. There would have been some animal exhibits too. But now you have, I think, a really fair representation of Africa at Animal Kingdom, so I don't think it ever needs to happen here. I don't think it'll ever happen here. Wouldn't make sense. How's it going? Good. Coca-Cola. Instead, we got a Coca-Cola drink stand to represent Africa. Yeah. Other pavilions through the years, though, there was going to be a Middle East pavilion or Arab nations pavilion. A lot of weird, wacky stuff planned for World Showcase, but the problems always seem to be the same. They couldn't get the financial backing from anyone to do them. And they had enough pavilions here where people, Norway specifically, funding fell through not long after opening, and Disney kind of got left with the Norway pavilion. Well, they're setting up the Alps. They're setting up the Alps. They're training. They have their floor markers too. I guess these are going to open in the next few days. Yeah. Wow. Things are picking up. In fact, the Matterhorn was on that Alp sign, funny enough. Here we are in China.
Thank you for visiting us today. Just a few reminders. Please wear a face covering at all times, except when actively eating or drinking while stationary. Clean your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
China's original film was Wonders of China, replaced by Reflections of China in 2003. I think I missed a super chat again. Thank you, Park Hopper and Anna Mouse, for the $9.99 for a Tipsy Ducks and love for the nice boy. It's a little too hot, I think, for Jim Beam, but I'll put that to use for a soda or something later. I don't remember these specifics. I always get this mixed up, but this pavilion opened without much. I almost think the restaurants were in here. Maybe it was just the film. Like the shop and the restaurants didn't actually come on board in 82. It's something weird. I think in 86 they came. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was something weird with this pavilion where everything wasn't here opening day. Yeah, I announced Super Chat. I got it. You guys might be a few moments behind. Go get some air conditioning. Some of them it did, and then otherwise, like various tourism boards. But otherwise, it would sometimes just be money from companies originating from those countries, right? So Norway was not really funded by the Norwegian government so much as it was funded by a bunch of Norwegian companies like Norway Foods and some others. Italy is not paid for by the Italian government. I mean, Alfredo's subsidized a lot of that cost. There wasn't much beyond the restaurant, right? So it really depended. Like Mexico, a lot of that was paid for by the restaurant group that operates San Angel. I wish Kringla was open. That'd be great. This exhibit, of course, has changed dozens and dozens of times. Funny enough, this is not the first new Disney park in the world to be previewed in this building. The first one previewed was Hong Kong Disneyland in the mid-2000s. And then between that, there was someone brought it up in the chat, the Terracotta Warriors, which, believe it or not, the Terracotta Warriors were not even produced by Disney. They bought all of those from Splendid China, which was a local amusement park themed about China here in Orlando that closed just before that exhibit opened. And so they bought a number of those Terracotta Warriors from Splendid China and put them in here as an exhibit, which people really loved. Oh, the nice boy is hiding. The nice boy doesn't want a Tipsy Ducks today, so he's hiding. Guys, if you're enjoying our history walk, please hit the like button. I see there's 416 of you watching, but only 165 have hit like. I can't legally continue until we hit at least 200 likes. So I can't tell you all about Maelstrom until we have 200 likes. There you go. Look how quick you guys got us to 200. I'm gonna find a shady spot. It's too hot. It's too hot to talk about Maelstrom in the sun. There we go. So yeah, the Norway Pavilion was, believe it or not, the last new pavilion added to EPCOT. Opened in 1988. It opened with a small boat ride called Maelstrom, but it almost didn't have that name. In fact, it had signage made and put on the wall that called it Sea Venture. Thank you, Angela, for the super chat. Appreciate it. So yeah, originally it was going to be called Sea Venture. It opened as Maelstrom. And obviously when you're going to do a boat ride in the Norway Pavilion, you got to have Viking ships. You got to have Vikings. You got to have trolls. And so all those things were in there. But then they also wanted to show that Norway was a progressive country and that they were doing new great things. And so they asked at the end of the ride feature their currently under construction oil rigs. 3 of the largest in the world, or however many there were. They were a big deal for the country at the time, so they specifically asked that they be included in the ride. Yeah. There also was a Tesla coil, yeah, that did a lightning effect, yeah, it was a thing. It was a thing for a hot minute. Yeah, it was a short boat ride. A lot of people didn't know what it was. They got in line, they waited a long time for it, and then were kind of disappointed. Many of us fell in love with how weird and wacky and crazy it was. But because of that, it was an easy thing to want to replace once Frozen came about. Of course, when Frozen debuted, there was a meet and greet here in the pavilion, and it had multi-hour waits. It was very, very bad, and that's when we knew Frozen was going to be a big thing. It was very clear it was going to be a big deal. Thank you, Xpander. I can't even say the rest of that. Xpander XT2. Thank you. And so, yeah, it was pretty apparent once Frozen debuted that we were not going to have Maelstrom for much longer. Maelstrom closed in September of 2014. And then we got Frozen Ever After, which reuses the boats and the track and the layout for the most part. They did some switching around with the load and unload to expand the ride a bit. And they combined the load and unload, make the ride longer. Yeah. And yeah, Frozen Ever After has been a popular attraction ever since. So popular, in fact, that it's being cloned. It's being cloned at Hong Kong Disneyland. And it's being cloned at Disneyland Paris all these years later, neither of which are even open or close to open at this point. And then Tokyo Disney is getting their own unique Frozen ride because, you know, they're willing to spend money, you know. But yeah, we did have the first Frozen ride in the world. Still no others open yet. California did get the musical. They got Frozen live at the Hyperion. There are a bunch of references to Maelstrom in the attraction, more than just the boats and the ride layout. There's a 3-headed troll in Oaken's shop on one of the tables. It's a reference to the 3-headed troll that would send you back over the falls. There is a tapestry of the 3-headed troll in the queue of the Royal Summer House, which is beautiful, and they should sell versions of it for us to buy. Also, the fiber optics that used to be above you when you were sent back over the falls are still there, and they were even expanded upon for when Elsa sends you backwards. Lots of executives touring EPCOT today, I think, getting ready for the next wave of booths to open in a couple days. The Mexico Pavilion opened not with this thing. There was a smaller counter service venue out here when it first opened. There was then the San Angel Inn inside and a bunch of shopping experiences, and then El Rio del Tiempo, the River of Time. a boat ride past mostly screen-based scenes, a lot of which were simply moved over, copied, I should say, because they both operate at the same time. Copied from If You Had Wings at the Magic Kingdom. Oh, we've got the queue set up in here today. Holy Moses. Wow. Wow. I know people, I haven't personally been here on a weekend where they've used this, but I've heard the stories. Today being, I guess it is Friday, isn't it? I don't even know what day it is anymore. Thank you. I guess, yeah, they do expect it to be crowded today and through the weekend. I wonder when those booths are going to open. They look like they're training today. It wouldn't be very long until you open those new booths. I know the rumbling was September 1st, but maybe this weekend. Let's just ride Grand Fiesta because I know that makes you guys very happy. You guys love Grand Fiesta Tour. Thank you. And we're actually going down this way. Wow. Wow. Just ate at San Angel the other night. There's a review coming, hopefully soon. Yeah, hit the thumbs up for Panchito, Jose, and Donald, please. Come on, maybe we can hit 300 before we get on the ride. So yeah, Grand Fiesta Tour. El Rio de Tempo closed in 2006, and no, it was a quick switchover, wasn't it? It was January of 07, and then this opened April. It was real quick. Thanks. Yeah, this was done all in 3 months. Mind you, the animatronics were not part of the ride yet. The animatronics would come later. But they did all the screen switchovers and this queue decorating and all that in about 3 months. I feel like a pinball going through a bunch of things in the machine. The animatronics at the end came from the Mickey Mouse Revue. The Mickey Mouse Revue operated the Magic Kingdom from 71 to 80, and then was sold to Tokyo Disneyland, where it was from 83 into the 2000s. And then when that closed, I don't know if they sold the animatronics back to Disney or Disney owned them or what the story was, but Imagineering had them. They gave some to the archives, and they decided that a set of the Caballeros, which there were multiples in the attraction, should go in this ride, which I think was a very sweet and thoughtful thing to do. They got to sit in the wheelchair boat. It's a cool boat.
Come on into row one.
Bienvenidos. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del barco. Y cuide a los pequeñitos. Gracias.
For your safety, feet and legs inside the boat. And if you have children, please watch carefully.
Bienvenidos. Para su seguridad, permanezca sentado y mantenga las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro. Y cuide.
Cadê o jacaré? O que sua mamãe fez você? Vai gostar disso? Olha o narigão. Vai virar.
I know this is gonna shock everyone, but the guys playing the xylophone still aren't moving. course, on El Rio del Tiempo, there were a number of people peddling merchandise who would follow you from screen to screen, trying to sell you various goods here.
Oh, no, you don't. It's showtime. Ha-ha! Now we got some. It's showtime. Oh, no, you don't. It's showtime.
These are not the only fireworks at EPCOT. Haven't you been on Soarin'? Soarin' also has fireworks. Also, technically, Frozen Ever After ends with projected fireworks. Jose fell on his nose. His sleeve is pulled up way too much. That's way too much white glove for Jose.
What means I caramba? I don't know.
I didn't know his gloves were that long.
They say we are birds of a
Ramming speed. Ramming speed. Boom. Well, that's because, Eric, that's because the unload of this ride goes straight into the line for La Cava.
Remember to stay seated until the boat reaches the dock. Then gather your belongings and exit to the right. Remember to stay seated till the boat reaches the dock. Then gather your belongings and exit to the right. Oh, have a nice day.
Do they want me to remain seated? I can't tell.
Remember to stay seated until the boat reaches the dock. Then gather your belongings and exit to the right. Hey! Hasta la vista! Remember to stay seated until the boat reaches the dock. Then gather your belongings and exit to the right.
Oof. Just keep getting hit up this ramp.
Remember to stay seated till the boat reaches the dock. Then gather your belongings and exit to the right. Oh, have a nice day.
Oh. Oh. They moved the wood carver in here. And they're open. Cool. Oh, they needed this room for people to hang out, I guess. Some room for people to drink margaritas. Yeah, they got rid of the wood carvers got pushed into the shop. There's like hangout space now. And the wood carvers are in there. It's weird. Turn slower? Apparently you didn't read the warning signs before the stream. Those made uncomfortable by spinning, enclosed dark spaces, or simulators should not watch.
Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth.
I have not been to San Antonio, Texas, no.
Maintain physical distancing. Thank you for your cooperation.
And it's getting crowded. Quick reminder for everyone watching at home, please hit the like button. It helps more people find the stream. Please subscribe if you haven't. We'll be live at a Walt Disney World theme park resort or Disney Springs every day. If you'd like to support us, there's two great ways you can do that. Number one, you can use the super chat right here on YouTube, or you can become a member of the WIGS, the WDWNT Inner Globe Society. You join at patreon.com/WDWNT. Busier than usual. It's pretty busy. Yeah, there's supposed to be an India pavilion. I mean, it's supposedly years and years off. It was supposed to revolve around the filming of the second Jungle Book movie, the live action. That still hasn't even come to pass yet. So I don't even know if and when that's going to happen. Canada built booth just smells like McDonald's French fries. A duck. If you would like some soup, please. A soup for the duck. A bisque for the mallard. A broth for the quack quack. Canada Pavilion, 1982 original. Started with the O Canada Circle Vision film. There was then O Canada again with Martin Short this time. That started in 2007 and just ended last year. And then now you have Canada Far and Wide, the new Circle Vision film, now with digital projection. Le Cellier used to be a buffeteria before it became the table service steakhouse. Used to also be able to get beaver tails there, a beloved treat that since sadly has become unavailable at the park. Let's see, Mickey and pals are coming. Let's see them. Yeah, that is the cavalcade music, yep. in the World Showplace down that way. We're not going to go in for the sake of time. Also, I'm not going to buy food, so there's no reason to go down there. The World Showplace was originally the Millennium Village. It was a place for small showcases of various countries not included in the World Showcase as part of the Millennium Celebration. Lasted from October 1st of 99 until the beginning of 2001, the end of the celebration. Before that, there were lots of different ideas for that space, one of which was the Enchanted Forest, which would have been I don't know how to really explain it, like a child's area with walkthroughs and mazes and topiaries and things to see, based around Mary Poppins, Robin Hood, Alice in Wonderland, Winnie the Pooh, all these stories that originated in the United Kingdom. There were other attractions envisioned for this pavilion. Again, a river cruise, because everyone needed a boat ride, apparently. Boat rides were the thing that made the most sense for every pavilion. And then, of course, most recently, they even announced a Mary Poppins attraction that is now likely canceled. It's been removed from everything, scrubbed from the plans, and it appears will not be happening, at least now, not at this moment. So this will not become Cherry Tree Lane for the time being, or maybe ever. Who knows? Yeah, I think it's empty back here because there's nothing to do back here. The park itself is pretty busy today. I think a boat ride in every pavilion would have been overkill. Of course, at some point, hopefully this year, knock on wood, the France Pavilion will have its first ride in Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, a direct clone of the same ride that exists at Walt Disney Studios in Paris. Mostly screen-based. I would call it a way less impressive Runaway Railway, so if you're impressed by Runaway Railway, you might like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. It's the nicest way I can phrase that. Impressions de France has played in the Palace du Cinéma since opening day, and now plays only in the evenings. The rest of the day you can see the Beauty and the Beast sing-along. The restaurants in this pavilion, founded by Paul Bocuse, thus Monsieur Paul. Paul Bocuse, such a beloved member of the Disney family, because of his partnership with them for so many years, that there's even a Paul Bocuse reference in Paris, at Disneyland Paris, in the Remy's Ratatouille Adventure area. Yeah. approaching the ice cream. I'm not walking away from the ice cream. I already had macarons this morning. It's too much. Too much. No, I haven't heard anything, and I haven't seen any prep work. It looks like the next things to open are going to be the Block and Hans beer stand, kiosk, whatever you want to call it in America, and a couple more of the booths for the Food and Wine Festival. Doesn't appear to be a lot of movement at any of the other closed restaurants at this time. Maybe for Christmas. I feel like I'm gonna quote the American Adventure, and I'll say to you, maybe we'll all be together next Christmas. Us and our favorite restaurants. I know I miss my Nine Dragons very much. Here's Morocco, not an opening day pavilion. It said opened in 1984. And actual Moroccan artisans, at the request of the prince, were used to construct the pavilion. So all the artwork and architecture and things you see, for the most part, are built by Moroccan artisans who were flown in at his request, and also his expense. Morocco did pay for the pavilion, which is why it got built. See all this tile work, all done by hand by Moroccan artisans. Spice Road table, not original. So this waterfront restaurant did not exist a decade ago. Hey guys, please, I see there's almost 600 of you watching, only 388 likes. Please hit that like button and please subscribe. Oh, someone made a Casablanca reference. With the sun, I couldn't see who made the Casablanca reference. We're gonna go cool off in the Mitsukoshi shop. Kumite is closed, but my personal favorite Disney fan site announced this restaurant. It's me. This new restaurant that was built in some of the storage space of the Mitsukoshi shop, opened last year. Air condition feels good. Very good. Right, Bullet Bill? Here's Bullet Bill with his good friend Blooper. I don't sell the Lego Mario here. Oh, yeah, it's pretty crowded in here today. Mitsukoshi is the Japanese department store chain that obviously owns this store, but also operates all the dining throughout the pavilion. Mitsukoshi is hundreds of years old. And for those of you wondering why a Japanese department store has a food section, it's because that's common in Japan. Usually in the bottom floor of the department store, you'll have a food area, not just with bagged food, but in fact, sometimes with sort of these little temporary vendors, bakeries and such, because giving gifts of food and drink Very common in Japanese culture. I believe this is the only Mitsukoshi in America. That sounds accurate. No, we're not going to look at the ginger flavor bag. Everyone thinks they're very funny.
You have to enter from the outside.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So yeah, there is an art gallery in here. But obviously that does not fill this entire building. And that is because there is a show building here meant for an attraction. It was meant for Meet the World. Meet the World was a Carousel of Progress style rotating theater about the history of Japan and their eventual end of their isolation and opening up to the rest of the world. Thus, Meet the World. Japan meets the world. It was super weird. It had an animated crane and 2 children in it. It's super wacky. It did eventually, I'm saying it did because it existed. It was built in Tokyo Disneyland not long after EPCOT Center opened, and then they thought they were going to put it here as well. And they ended up not doing that. Hello. There are no Peruvian shark catfish, but they'll do for this part. Yeah, and I think that fish is stuck on that rock, or is he trying to scratch himself? I don't know. He's acting weird. The theme song for Meet the World, written by the Sherman Brothers. It was released not long ago on that Sherman Brothers songbook album that was released. Remember all the lyrics. What is it like? Japan of today leads the way. Hand in hand. I don't know. I don't remember all the words. We meet the world with love. We meet the world with love. Could I have a time check? Anyone have the time? $1:34.
Gracias amigos, buenas tardes. Somos el Mariachi Cobre.
A Mariachi Cobra, an opening day offering here at EPCOT.
For almost 40 years.
He's talking about it.
And that's all we
Can we
do is we can't take enough of
grab a seat in here? Are we allowed?
We just opened up with a beautiful song from the state of Jalisco, that's the traditional style of mariachi song. And that was entitled El Cibalteco. We're going to continue now in the beautiful voice of Omar Olivas in the beautiful ranchera, Cuando Jueguen al Pool.
Ahora sí ya no tiene remedio, se acabó nuestra gran ilusión. Ahora sí ya arranqué de mi pecho aquel sentimiento, aquella obsesión. Comprendí que no vale la pena que de todos te dejas querer. Si en un tiempo supiste ser buena, hoy vas por el mundo buscando placer. Ya jugaste el alcohol en tu vida y el destino me lo hizo perder. Tú no quieres sentirte perdida, pero pronto lo vas a saber. El camino que tú has escogido, yo lo anduve 1000 veces también. Mas recuerda que Dios soy el hombre, y el hombre no pierde como a una mujer. En mis brazos no fuiste dichosa, a pesar de que tanto te amé. Preferiste un cariño cualquiera, tal vez por capricho, despecho, placer. Tú creerás que me dejas llorando, que en la vida me voy a amargar. Pero amor como el tuyo me sobra, mujeres que engañan hay muchas por ahí. Cuando juegue el albur de mi vida y el destino me lo hace perder, buscaré entre la noche tus besos para perderme contigo también. Por lo pronto me sigo de frente y me voy sin decirte ni adiós. Por si acaso volvemos a vernos allá cuando nada valgamos los dos.
The next selection that we're going to go to is one that I know you all will definitely recognize because you're here, and so more than likely you have seen the movie Coco.
Oh boy.
And this is the hit song from that film that also won an Academy Award as well. And it's going to be in the voice, the beautiful voice of Esteban Carrillo. This is Remember Me, Recuérdame.
Remember me. Oh, I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. Secret secrets unto you. Tonight we are apart. Remember me. Though I have to travel far, remember me. Each time you hear a sad guitar, no matter with you, the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me. Aunque no olvidar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra quieres llorar, ella con su triste canto te acompañará hasta que en mis brazos me estés. Remember me. Recuérdame. Hoy me tengo que ir, recuérdame. No llores, por favor, te quiero en mi corazón y cerca me tendrás. Haz oración que cantaré soñando en regresar. Recuérdame, aunque tengo que mirar, recuérdame. Si mi guitarra es llorar, ella con su triste canto te acompañará hasta que en mis brazos tú estés. Recuérdame.
And the beautiful trio that you just heard at the end were the voices of Miguel Molina, Esteban Carrillo y Pablo Héctor Gama. We're going to continue now. We're going to go back to the state of Jalisco. And the next song we're going to play is probably one of the most famous songs in the entire world. And this is also the national dance of Mexico. In the United States, you'll hear it called the Mexican hat dance. Please enjoy El Jarabe Tapatío.
no quieren verme. Quiere decirme será que hace falta para quererte. Quiere decirme será que hace falta para quererte.
Ojitos traidores en la voz de Israel Molina. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We have one last song for you, but before we do that, I just want to take this opportunity once again to thank you again for joining us. Mariachi Cobre has been here for almost 40 years, all because of you and for you allowing us to share our beautiful music with you. So thank you once again. And also, I want to make sure that you're enjoying a taste of the EPCOT International Food and Wine Festival as well. And so hopefully you've had your drink and your food and that you've enjoyed your music. We're going to leave you with a beautiful composition by the composer, Pepe Guizar. His wonderful Guadalajara.
Thanks, Mike.
Palomas, nubes de río, Guadalajara, por esa altura tierra mojada. Eso no te
Friends, thank you for being part of this performance from Mariachi Cobre. Enjoy the rest of your day here at EPCOT.
That's some vintage EPCOT for you. Mariachi Cobre, world famous. People who don't even really know Disney theme parks have heard of Mariachi Cobre. People in the music industry. Very well known, very respected. A legendary group. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're right back where we started here at the American Adventure. I'd like to thank you for joining me on this stroll around the World Showcase, reliving the memories and the history We thank you for joining us. And we'll see you all at some point tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.